Yo, what is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome to episode 3 of The Return to Glory, here with Kashima Antlers in the J1 division here in Japan. Hopefully you guys are good. Quick thing first, before I get into this episode, I just want to thank you guys for your amazing response. I uploaded the first episode of this series today. As it stands, it's about midnight as I record this. It has over 400 likes. Guys, that is incredible. If we can surpass 400 likes on this video, I'll have episode 4 up for you guys tomorrow. Anyway, let's get into this. What's been going on? Let's find out. Let's kick things off with the fixtures. So last episode, if you missed it, we drew 1-1 against Gambaro Osaka, grabbing a goal through Yamamura. Unfortunately, it was only enough to get us a point. Since then, I've had a bit of a more tactical tinkering. Honestly, again, as I mentioned last episode, the tactics still aren't that comfortable, but it's getting there now at least. And I'm pretty happy with the team at my disposal. So today we are going to be playing Reysol, as you can see, but first things first, let's take a look over the fixtures since the last episode. As you can see, 4 games played at home and 1 game away, and in those games we have won 3 and lost 2. Worth noting, however, that one of the ones we lost was in the Nabisco Cup, which isn't exactly a priority this year. This year, whilst it'd be good to go on a little run in that competition, the J1 League is my priority. Anyway, first game after I guess the last episode was against this team, Albirex, and they were a good team. However, we did see them off with relative ease all in all. We dominated the game for large spells, and as you can see, we had more shots, created more chances, conceded less fouls, and edged possession, and all of that, I guess, amounted to what was ultimately a fairly comfortable 2-1 win. First goal there coming from Ishiki. Good play from him, the young 19-year-old, to get a goal off the mark. And then we followed things up immediately after half-time, grabbing our second of the game. We did concede late on in the second half, but after 2 red cards, both of which I do believe went against them, we were able to see out the game, getting a pretty darn good result all in all. As you can see, Tanaka with the goal there, and that was his first ever goal for the club, which was good to see. As I mentioned, however, they did grab a goal here, and that was a little disappointing, I guess, to say the least. Anyway, plenty of sendings off in that game. Actually, there was a sending off apiece. Yeah, Luis Alberto got sent off, which is a little bit disappointing. Luis Alberto is a player who I bigged up at the start of this save, and right now he's not looking particularly good, and that does worry me slightly because he is a very good player on paper. He just really hasn't put in those performances just yet for us. Anyway, following on from this, we had a game at home against Gambaro Osaka, the team who we'd got a draw against in the previous episode, and we got absolutely slaughtered this game. We took the lead. After 3 minutes, they got back into it, and from there, they looked pretty much in control. I mean, it was a weird game because it was 2-2 at the break, but come the second half, they just came out of the block sharper. We did not look clinical in front of goal, and you can kind of see that in the average ratings. Not going to show you this game just because the highlights are pretty time-consuming. However, we then followed this up with our back-to-back defeats. This one coming in the J1 League, and we lost 3-2 against Vissel in a game that you look at the stats, and I know they only tell half a story, but we should have done better in. Ultimately, both teams had 4 clear-cut chances, and again, it was just a lack of clinical finishing that I guess cost us in the end here. As you can see, however, we did get the first goal of the game really, really quick in. 1 minute in, having countered from the corner, I was pretty darn happy. However, second half, they came out the traps flying. 61 minutes in, you can see here, just finding some space behind our defence and a nice cross in to the back post, and Otter was there to grab the goal. A flurry of goals at the end of the game ultimately meant that we didn't get the 3 points, which was a wee bit disappointing, We've done okay in the league, obviously. Prior to this episode, we'd drawn a fair few games. Fortunately, we have started scoring more. However, as this game and the game against Gambaro Osaka suggest, we are starting to concede more. So, a few tactical changes have happened yet again, as I mentioned. Switched to a narrow 4-2-3-1, and it's getting there. It's not perfect. Players are still learning as we go, but we're slowly finding a shape that suits us, and it's just going to be more about this tinkering, I guess, that will ultimately, I guess, decide what we end up playing system-wise this year. Obviously, I have some great attacking midfielders, and it's just a case of finding a system which I guess, offers maximum potency in front of goal in terms of, getting our attacking talents, I guess, in play and utilising just our supreme passing ability, but at the same time kind of shows us some defensive strength. As you can see here, they grabbed a goal in the 88th minute to grab the winner. That was pretty painful to take. Anyway, fortunately for us, we did put that behind us with two really good wins. First one coming against San Frisi, as you can see here. 2 goals, Otsu and Davey getting the goals in a game that we played pretty well in. Created chances, not as clinical as I'd like, but still 2 goals was nice. We were always in control of this game. And then the last game of this spell, and the last game of the month of April, was against Espulse, and this was a game where we took the lead early on. Luis Alberto, who, as I mentioned, hasn't really contributed too much, making a rare a rare contribution. Nice finish on the rebound from the free kick, as you can see there. That was his first goal for the club, and this was the only time where he's really, I guess, been a standout performer for us. He did get man of the match, but he opened things up, and then in the second half, Mayachi with a nice little run, and then we just keep the ball well here, knocking the ball around, trying to utilise the space, and eventually, I believe it was Davey who ended up putting up a finish, but just exploiting the pace. This was a really nicely worked goal, all in all. Nishi able to whip in a ball, Ishigi getting the header, as you can see there, and I thought the goal came from that chance. Apparently it didn't, but that shows you there the narrow shape that we're playing. I'm just going to show this again, because I don't cover tactics too much. But if you watch this play here by us, this really... I should probably show my tactic, I guess. Can I show my tactic without going off the highlights? But this is the tactic we're playing right now. Trying to use my wingbacks to push up. And what you're going to see in this little highlight is the way that these kind of 5 players in almost a pentagon shape, or rather 6 players, I can't count, really contribute and pass the ball around really nicely. You'll see it here. If I just go to view highlights, goals, and then skip forward. So you'll see here, they have the throw in, and this is just what I wanted to see more of in this shape. This is what I'm looking for us to do. Really kind of probe defences. Utilise simple passing options when the opportunity arises, and just look for the opportunity, use them. The width out wide, overcrowd them in the centre, then force them to close down our wide men, and then open up opportunities, for space and runs to come in, like that one by Ishiki there. And that's kind of what this system's going for now. Obviously, I started off this year with a wide system. This system that I've now reverted to doesn't really allow Mayachi to have as much of a handle on the game. Instead, I have to play him narrower. But no, it's interesting to see it coming together a bit, and I'm trying to make the 3 attacking midfielders work. It's tricky because obviously you do leave yourself somewhat exposed at the back with this kind of tactic, but fortunately, it has, I guess, proven to be worth the risk in many of these games with us getting scoring wins where we outscore the opposition. Davey there converting from the set piece to get us a vital win. So anyway, that's that. In terms of where the goals have been coming from, you can see here, Davey's really been the standout performer so far. The 30-year-old Brazilian, a player who was already at the club when I came. He's played pretty well, 7 goals in 6 in the league, 3 and 3 in the cup. He's a player who we've been able to look upon for goals. Did have a little bit of a spell injured. He was out for 9 days, missed a few games at the start of last month, but since then he's bounced back well and he's continued to score. And then on the kind of assist front, you've got Nozawa, who's been playing really well, a player who was already at the club, really good kind of playmaker. You can see that from his stats, able to knock the ball around really well. And I'm really pleased to say that Ishigi has really played well. Obviously this guy's lack of determination is somewhat concerning, and I am tutoring him. I should point this out, I was just about to check if I was. I am tutoring him with Luis Alberto, and that is making an impact. That 12 determination, whilst it's not great, it is an improvement from the 4, and it's something that I'm looking to do. But you can see here, he's played well so far. He's adapting well to this role that I've got him in the side. And a young player, he's only 19, 20 now. As you can see, he's 19, he's 20 actually in September. He's a player with loads of time to develop, and playing this first team football and playing well in the first team is only going to aid his development further. So anyway, the game that we've got today is against Reysol. Just to look at where they are in the league, you can see here they are in 7th. I'm also going to play a second game this episode. Just decided to do this in the spur of the moment. We're going to play the game against Grampus, which is just 3 days after the Reysol game. So they are actually 2nd in the league. So that could be a tricky one. But anyway, we're going to live in the present right now, as we are going to be taking on Reysol. Just going to slot in at centre attacking mid. I'm actually going to play Motoyama. I prefer him there. But this is how we're going to line up. We'll see how we get on. Raysol are not a bad team by any means, but hopefully we can take the game to them with our slightly kind of new and improved, I guess, shape that we now have in the midfield. Slightly narrower, slightly more compact. Really kind of, I guess, aiming just to dominate it in the centre. Try and hold on to the ball, you know, playing that controlling football and ultimately probe and take the opportunities that fall our way. But we will see how we get on here. Gonna encourage the players as best as I can. Hopefully get them, you know, happy and delighted for this game. Morale's been something a little bit tricky to come by, but, you know, 3 wins in our last 5. It's slowly seeing the morale picking up, and hopefully we can take the game to them here and get a win away from home. Something that we've not done on a consistent basis thus far this year, and Yamamura with a big interception there. Now can we break? You can see the compact nature of our team. It does leave us somewhat exposed at the back, and I don't know who the centre-back was there. Who was it who went walkies? Bloody hell, boys. Thought we had Matthew Upson in the centre of our defence then, the way he wandered off. Fortunately, however, we have, I guess, dealt with that, and that's fortunate to say the least. Just a bit of nerves. I want to say nerves. Just a lack of composure. I think it was by Yamamura, who was happy for the close down. Davey, please bury this. Nice goal. That's 11 in 11 for him. We take a lead here. We move up to 3rd in the league. And finally, we're getting a few wins on the board. That one coming from our... sorry, not win. Well, we are getting a few wins on the board, but finally taking the lead in some games. Very often this season, I've kind of been chasing games, and it's been a little bit frustrating, you know, feeling like I have to commit, and it has cost us in the game against Gamba, where we lost 5-2 in this latest spell of games. We were 3-2 down after 60 minutes. I had to go for it at home, and it cost us defensively. And so in these kind of games where you do take an early lead, I think it relieves a little bit of the pressure, and particularly in the closing stages, if you've still got that lead, you have still got something to hold on to. But poor defending there. Wow, that was really bad. Again, doubling up on the man. If you're going to double up on the man, the 2 centre-backs here, they've really got, or the 2 defenders here, they've got to stop the ball coming in, because all he's done is he's left his man here. Simple ball threaded through at the end, and then the keeper doesn't really stand a chance from 6 yards out to stop that ball. As you can see, Raysol having a good bit of possession as well. It's a 50-50 game, but you'd have to say that they're looking a little bit more threatening. Obviously, they've got the goal. They had that clear-cut chance very early on. But it looks like we're going to go into the break at 1-1. So that could have been worse, could have been better. I'm going to try and get the players fired up here. Hopefully get them a little bit motivated to play the second half. Okay, sorry about that, guys. What you can hear me now talking is just explaining I just had the worst coughing fit ever. It's edited out. We go again. Anyway, Sugahata with the save. Nice play, my son. Hopefully we can do more of the same. Alberto gets injured. I was contemplating taking him off anyway. Looks like we're going to be relying on Umibashi to do a job for us in the centre of defence. We've got a set piece here. Ishigi headed in by Yamamura. 2-1. Let's go, boys. Now I'm going to play a little bit more defensively. We're going to drop some players into deeper areas. Hopefully just see out this game now. Basically just dropping the team that little bit deeper. Trying to, I guess, be a little bit more conservative with what we have. And hopefully just maybe hit them on the break for a second goal. But right now, going to park the bus as best we can. Maybe sacrifice a little bit of territory in the middle, but looking for our players to see this out right till the end. Got a few tired legs, so we will make some changes just to rectify that. But this is looking like it could be a very, very, very big win for us here against Raysol away from home. If, and I say if, we can see out the last 3 minutes here as the clock dwindles away. Tick on. Tick on, clock. That will do me. That is full time. That's a great away win. 2-1, very nice, and we go into our next game on the back of some nice little bit of form now. We're getting there. Grampus is the next game. They were second in the league prior to this game. Hopefully we can take the momentum from this and the 2 wins before this and maybe get our 4th win on the bounce in the J1 League. That's the plan. So, we did well there. We did very well. We've lost Alberto. I always call Alberto Luis Gustavo. Brazilian centre defensive mids. He's out for 3 to 4 weeks. That is not good news. But you can see if we can beat Grampus in this next game, that would be an absolutely fantastic result for us. Hopefully we can follow it up with a win now. That's the plan. I am a very happy bunny with that win. Can I just say a quick apology, guys? I know in this video, like I know this as I'm recording it, there's a load of mistakes in this, like me saying the wrong words. It's weird. It's like anything making videos. When you've not done videos in a while, you just feel a little bit rusty, and there's something about talking about FM, particularly in a factual manner. Obviously, I've been streaming, which is slightly different because it's a lot more laid back. But when I'm presenting videos like this, it's a lot kind of harder, I guess, to keep my trail of thought going and actually know what I'm saying at times. But we'll get there. Practice makes perfect. And as I say that, I'm looking at my team and I'm thinking practice isn't going to make perfect because our players are knackered, and if they were to train anymore, they're not going to be ready for today's game. But we are going to be playing Grampus at home. Ishiki is struggling with fitness, but I don't have any alternatives. The option is really to drop my Achian at centre attacking mid, which he can't do, but we may have to play him there in the second half, just depending on how Ishiki gets on in terms of his, I guess, general fitness. So we'll see how we get on here. Obviously on a good run of form right now. Grampus are in second place. So if we can beat these, we're only a goal difference behind them. We may well be able to extend this winning run and also, you know, just show, I guess, some, not title winning credentials, but certainly the credentials that we could finish top for this year. Anyway, we'll see what we can do here. Working the ball from out wide. Wingback can't deliver a ball of quality. And this is, again, the area where I'm concerned. That lack of a defensive midfielder. Even the ball-winning midfielder. I often feel like we're just exposed a little bit at the back. Particularly playing free centre-attacking mids. You know, they don't track back particularly well, centre-attacking mids in FM. And with three of them, combine that with the fact we have a striker. Obviously, we are playing control. We commit men further up the field. There's always this wariness that I have. And that is one reason why I'm very kind of disciplined in terms of playing rigid. I want my wingbacks to stay in the wingback role. I don't want them wandering up and trying to contribute in the attacking phases. But what I certainly want my defence to do is defend set pieces, especially in the big games. We've not done that there. Obviously, that lack of height in the centre is costing us. We don't have the best heading. It's something that I knew with this team, and I wasn't too concerned about it because obviously Japan, average height is smaller, so there's like less of a reliance on jumping, and the average of jumping is just going to naturally be lower. But it would have to be said, despite the fact we have looked pretty potent from some set pieces, particularly defensively, we're not looking too great there. As soon as we become slightly more cohesive with the tactics, that's certainly something I'm going to look to work on. Davey has just missed an absolute sitter there for us. What have you done, son? Set piece comes in again. Nice defending that time. Can we look to break now? Can we look to break? Nice win there. Now Davey to hold up the play for the on-rushing, surging centre-attacking mids, but they dispossess us. And again, this frailty at the back, it's a good save by the keeper. Their attackers should probably do better in that situation. However, I am not going to complain one bit about that miss. And Blumenek, they've almost scored from the resulting set piece. Oh dear, boys. Can we weather the storm? Right now they're just dominating us. It's that lack of a defensive presence in midfield. Just need to get the players maybe playing slightly deeper defensively. I'm going to look to rectify that very shortly. Be nice, however, if we could get a goal here. Bit of attacking player. Shigi, can he score? He can't. That is a nice block by them. Looking at the stats early on, you can see it's been a pretty 50-50 game in terms of the fact that both teams have created clear-cut chances, just neither been able to take them consistently. Obviously, they did grab one, but I don't believe it was from a set. It was from a set piece, so it wasn't classified as a clear-cut chance, to my knowledge. I'm going to change some stuff. Right now, we're playing control, but whilst we're having the ball, we're just not doing anything with it in the final third. And so what I'm going to look to do is I'm going to look for us to play slightly less direct and slowly work the ball into the box. And you can see some of our instructions here if you were curious about them. I'm going to get rid of the look for the overlap and exploit the middle. I kind of want us to maybe be a little bit more wary going forward. So I'm going to switch our two central midfielders to defensive roles. Obviously the deep line playmaker is already set to defensive, but just a ball winning midfielder set to defend. Hopefully just to plug that gap that we're leaving a little bit more. And obviously, telling our players not to play as wide is just to kind of give us a little bit more of a compact unit in centre attacking mid playing the ball. And I guess in removing the... did I remove the more direct? Yeah, removing the more direct, we don't need to be as direct with our balls now. We don't need to hit as many long balls because we're playing narrower. We're more compact, shorter passes should work. Should work being the optimal word because they've just scored. And again, I'll just pause here. This is This space, you look at this here, this is a 5v4 basically, and this guy's now been passed out of the game. This situation shouldn't arise, but it's arising because they've got players rushing from centre mid, and then, well, our set of attacking midfielders. You can see the shape here. You've got the two deeper players. You've got your ball-winning midfielder and deep line playmaker, your trequartista, and the two attacking midfielders. And right now we're getting caught a little bit out of position. I mean, if this guy's a winger, there's a chance, be it slim, that he at least follows this man, or at least, you know, sits a little bit wider and maybe tracks in. Obviously, I know it's not him who's got the goal here, and the same here, you know, just helping out a little bit more. Obviously, the defender committing out the line here is immediately a mistake because we're in trouble. But even here now, you know, they've passed the ball through. He's through. He's going to score immediately. But even so, 4 players there reasonably in space. It's a little bit concerning. A little bit concerning right now. Alas, we are going to be just 2-0 down at the break, so it could be worse, but we need to do something better. We need to... Where's the passion, lads? I want to see more. I want to see more. They're not playing it particularly attackingly, so here's what we're going to do. Here is what we're going to do. We're going to stick to positions. We're going to pass into space, and we're going to play it shorter. We're going to try and get a little bit more link-up play going. Obviously, as I mentioned, going narrower. And hopefully we can just step up our game, be it just a little bit. In terms of just, I want to say fixing our shape, but it's not so much fixing it as just retaining it and ensuring that when we don't have the ball, we do work back. Set piece comes in, and it's another set piece goal. Another one of my concerns coming big. It's disappointing, and it's more frustrating because this is all very much in hindsight that I'm now addressing this. But we've just been beaten in the air there. That's all there is to it. They've just outplayed us from the set piece. Right, 20 minutes left. This game's looking beyond us. I don't really want to commit too much more attackingly. I'm probably going to look to sub Ishigi off here and bring on Maiachi. Although we are on the attack here, is there a chance for a late resurgence? Ishigi, Nozawa, shot is saved. So Ishigi is struggling. I'm going to play Maiachi out of position just for the sake of saving legs at this point more than anything. No point in risking particularly players as key as Ishigi is to our team's fitness when we're chasing a game that we're 3-0 down in with 20 minutes left. All in all, though, it's not been a bad start to this save. They've just scored the most ridiculous goal ever. Okay, there's been a foul given. I was about to say that would have been the most ridiculous goal I've ever scored. Bloody hell. If you missed that, because you were tabbed out in FM, just go back, rewind it. Yeah, it would have been a screamer, put it that way. Although they could score another goal here. Nice block. What I was about to say was I'm pretty happy with the start we've made. Obviously, we're playing a younger side. I'm trying to play quite an attacking kind of system, I guess. Right now, there's certainly flaws with it, and those that need to be rectified as soon as possible. But kind of, all in all, we've not played too badly. Media prediction was 4th. Obviously, going into this game, we were 3rd. Grampus are currently 2nd in the league. The fact that we're now getting spanked so badly is pretty painful to take, and is again just a result of us chasing a game, and it's hard to take. But I am kind of optimistic at this point. The younger players like Ishigi playing well, the chances and opportunities that I'm giving to young first team players has been beneficial, I think, to say the least. And it's kind of a building point this year. As much as I'd like to, you know, qualify for the Asian Champions League, and I think that's still an aim. I think the Asian Champions League is still an aim. I think the primary objective this year was to consolidate our losses in terms of getting rid of some of the older players that we currently rely on, or at least phasing them out the first team, and really, you know, giving a platform for younger players to shine on. The system, whilst obviously it'd be nice to get a system that's a case of, yes, this is what we play, this is how we're going to play on this save, it's not necessarily the worst thing in the world. This kind of system that I play with the attacking midfielders certainly benefits us in terms of some of the younger players we've got coming through and some of the older players we've had. But I wouldn't say it's the future, put it that way. But anyway, that is a 4-0 defeat away from home. That was one hell of a spanking. But fortunately, you know, it's a rarity, those kind of games that we've had, particularly in the J-League. And right now, you look at the league, it's so tight. I mean, Frontale still have a game in hand and they've had a stormer to the start of the season, but they're not unbeatable. They've lost 2 of their first 11. You know, there's 34 games in this season and 12 in, so we are just past, I guess, 33% of the way through. We're in 4th, which was our target. Granted, this league is crazily close, particularly kind of S-Pulse in 8th, all the way to Frontale in 1st. You know, 5 points between the top 8 is unbelievably close, but as long as we keep performing how we are, we'll be there kind of up in the table, I guess, come the end of the season. We've still not lost that many. Despite the loss today, that is only our 2nd of the season, I do believe. Of course, the other one came against Vissel, which was that late goal that we conceded. But all in all, there's some positives to take. Looking at the board confidence, you can see here, they're pretty happy all in all. Pretty happy with the first team young signings you can see here in terms of the signings that we've made. Overall, they're proving pretty successful, particularly Ashigi. He's been key this year. So far, and he's just going to continue to develop, hopefully, and we'll be reaping the rewards of us playing him alongside a few other players for years to come. Just one other player I want to draw your attention to, this guy, Kanazawa, who is a player who obviously was generated at the club. I think I explained this in episode 1, but because the Japanese youth teams didn't have any players, I did set up the game to basically generate regens to pad out the youth teams, and we got this guy as one of our young players, so I'm pretty excited about him. I believe that the Japanese Region Day isn't until late summer, maybe even the fall time or autumn time. So there's some way to go until we get an actual Region Day. But this guy, I'm going to look to play this guy when I can. He's certainly a good player. As you can see, I gave him a chance in the Cup and we did get spanked. And he got a 5.9 rating, which has somewhat put me off playing him. But I'm still going to look to play him. But overall, yeah, you can see here, we've got some good players. Otsu's played well. At centre mid when we've played him. He was a little bit injured and not 100% match fit for the game against Grampus, but besides that, he's doing pretty well. A good signing so far. Sugahata's had a good start to the season in goal, and Yamamura, the centre back who had a lot of interest in him at the start of the season, I clung onto him, got him to sign a new deal. He's looking like a really sharp player for us right now. 9 appearances, 2 goals, 2 man of the matches, and a 7.101 average rating. Anyway, just to look at the player stats quickly, Davey is on the top goal scorers with 8 so far this season in the league, and Ashigi heads the way actually in assists, which is pretty nice. Akubo, the top goal scorer, just a quick look at him if you were curious. He's a pretty good player, but 31. One thing I've noticed about the Japanese leagues especially is that a lot of the players who play particularly well at teams are not the youngest players. Obviously this guy, Kobayashi, isn't exactly old, but there's a lot of players here like Adu, another example of an older player playing for a team, and especially the foreign players who come and play in the J-League, players like Diego Forlan for example. It's very much players in the twilight years of their career, you know, it's those kind of final years where they're just trying to get that final paycheck and playing a standard of football that they are, I guess, well equipped to deal with. So hopefully as we progress through this save, we will reap the rewards, as I've mentioned before, of playing a young team. Just a quick look at our squad overview here. You can see the average age is 24. Best attribute is passing, and worst attribute is work rate. And to be honest, that's pretty visible in our team, particularly in the centre. Obviously, we have Shibazaki, who has 12 work rate. And then the other centre-back, at least for the last game, was Nakata, who has 13 work rate. And whilst that's not necessarily the worst work rates in the world, you can certainly notice it when it comes to our defenders tracking back. Our midfielders tracking back and really doing their shift to contribute in the defensive phases of play. But anyway, guys, I'm going to wrap things up there. A little bit of rambling going on this episode. A few times I got my tongue tied, but hopefully you enjoyed regardless. As I mentioned at the start, if we get this video to 400 likes, episode 4 will be up tomorrow. Hopefully you enjoyed. Obviously, if you've got any questions with regards to the series, leave them down in the comments. And other than that, guys, it is me, Jack, and I'll talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.